Liam, I can't work out now what a mini budget is, what an autumn statement is, or what a budget is, but there's something happening on November the 17th, I think, and I wanted to reflect on this. Exactly 6 weeks ago, we were talking about the size of a state being reduced, taxes being reduced across the board and not increased for companies on corporation tax. Today's newspapers are full of the direst warnings. I want to know from you, what have you picked up? What's the word on the street?
So what's happening on Thursday, November the 17th, is an autumn statement. It's a full dress in the House of Commons with Office for Budget Responsibility forecasts, both sides of the government's balance sheet, taxation, receipts and spending. We may not get the specific departmental breakdown of spending, and I'm not quite sure the Cabinet can handle that kind of family row at the moment, but we'll certainly get the envelope of public spending. And the reality is, Nigel, is already the tax burden in the UK, the share of our GDP, of our economy taken up by tax, is already heading for the highest since the late 1950s, a 70-year high. And it's about to get even higher. The briefings in the paper today were prepare for...
Is that softening us up?
Yeah, well, we'll see. The briefings today paper were prepare for a lot of pain, tax cuts across the board. The fiscal black hole is so huge, says the Resolution Foundation, of course, run by people who used to work for Ed Miliband. Decent economists, decent people, but forecasts are not destiny. Yeah. Forecasts are not destiny. And what we're seeing in the papers today, and I'm sure it's going to carry on, the jungle drums will be beating until November the 17th, a sense that taxation is going to get a lot higher. So when it gets a bit higher, we all think that we've done very well.
OK. That's the psychology of this. Unlike, I suppose, Kwasi Kwarteng, who told us absolutely nothing and then blew everybody away, including the short-term traders on the markets. We're told there's a 40 to 50 billion hole that must be fixed by putting up taxes and cutting spending. Isn't it funny? When it comes to hundreds of billions being produced for the pandemic or for potentially covering our gas bills, no one cares.
I think I'm always quite sceptical of these sort of static definitions of fiscal black holes. The IFS, the Resolution Foundation, they're full of very smart people for whom I've got a lot of respect. But they are fiscal economists rather than macroeconomic forecasters and strategists. They tend to look at the economy as a fixed point rather than a dynamic system. Of course, we could get a lot more growth. Of course, the gas price could come down quite a lot. Of course, gilt yields could continue to fall as they have been. They're down from 4.2% when Boris looked as if he was going to stage a comeback. They're below 3.5% today. That is the rate at which the government borrows per year for 10-year money. Yeah. That's tens of billions of pounds less spent on debt interest. So my point isn't to be complacent, isn't to not do forecasts. It's to realise that forecasts are just educated guesswork. And my concern now is that the lessons we take from the mini budget is that any attempt to cut taxes from their current 70-year high is verboten, is mad, is libertarian jihadism, to use the words of one Tory backbencher who frankly should know better. He's a smart guy. And I think Rishi Sunak is beholden to the idea now in his mind that he has to raise taxes a lot. And it really doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of business economists, people in the city, people who have proper commercial experience, to be raising corporation tax from 19 to 25%, particularly on small businesses, as we're looking down the barrel of recession. To be raising taxes on consumers by freezing thresholds. So lots of not very wealthy people, suddenly they're paying the top rate of tax. At a time when consumer confidence, Nigel, is at a 40-year low. This is not a good idea. Rishi Sunak wasn't even alive in the 70s. He was born in 1980. He needs to learn some of the lessons of how we got out of the 70s. We got out of the 70s by lowering taxes, doing supply-side reforms, getting the economy moving.
One day, come back with some good news. Because at the moment, there's precious little.